Manchester United, PSG, Champions League returns, 2-0 down from the first leg and got a massive mountain to climb going away to PSG to even salvage any sort of pride away at PSG. To be honest, would be nice to get a bit of pride, but with so many injuries, I think basically Manchester United are just fucking this game off, to be honest. And it does look a bit like that with the fact that he's not going to risk Anthony Martial. Probably, I'm not too sure how long Jesse Lingard is out for now, but I would presume that he must be coming onto the mend, and the likes of Herrera and Mata surely can't be many weeks away. But if this was a Champions League final or something, some of them players would surely be risked. But there's no point in risking them, to be honest, because I cannot see Manchester United turning this game around. You know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to come out and say that Manchester United have got a great chance to turn this around, that this sort of thing's happened in the past, but the 2-0 down at home from the first leg, and you've got to go away from home and win 3-0 against probably the favourites to win the tournament. I mean, Manchester United are quite a bit away from PSG at this moment in time. Let's not be around the bush. Manchester United have done well enough to get back in the mixer around the top four, but this team still needs work doing to it, and it's more probably the starting lineup that needs more work to get to PSG's level, rather than the actual overall squad, because we've seen in recent weeks a lot of players have actually stepped up to the plate that haven't been playing recently in the first few games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You're looking at the likes of Lukaku, obviously McTominay, and then you've got Pereira, players like that, even Dalot, he stepped up to the mark as well. So that's players that have been pretty much squad players under Solskjaer at the start of his reign, and are now stepping up to the plate. So there is the strength in depth there. Maybe they're not at the level that obviously you would want to challenge for the league or the Champions League, but they're probably not much below the level of the players that are starting week in, week out, because it's debatable. I mean, he did seem to get what he thought was his best starting lineup, but Lukaku is still a very good goal scorer, and his confidence was just shot. And you've got young players, obviously Scott McTominay and Pereira still coming and learning the trade. Dalot's going to be a fantastic player in the future. So the squad is there in depth. We've got a better depth than a lot of teams, but we're nowhere near at the level of PSG, nowhere near. Our starting lineup, our best starting lineup, isn't good enough. More players would get, a lot more players for me would get into Manchester United's team from PSG than the other way round. So for Manchester United, it's just going out there and having some pride. But the big news is that Alexis Sanchez is out for around 6 to 8 weeks. I don't think many people are actually disappointed in that, with the fact that he has been so poor for Manchester United so far. It does look like his Manchester United career has sadly come to an end. It's really disappointed. When we signed him, I was so excited. World-class player from Arsenal. Fantastic. He's had injury problems and just a lack of form, to be honest. But it just worries me that if he goes to another club, will he go and smash it at another club and do really, really well? I mean, obviously, I hope he doesn't if he leaves Manchester United, because I don't want him to come back to haunt us. But it will just be a real shame that it hasn't worked out for Manchester United. But he's out, so it does give Manchester United all sorts of problems on what... I mean, I probably do know roughly what his starting lineup's going to be, but the problems are if any more injuries occur within the first hour of the game, then youngsters will definitely have to come in, because there is only going to be youngsters for me on the substitutes bench in this game. I can't see how he's going to put experienced players on the substitutes bench besides maybe the likes of Bay and Rojo, because the forward line just hasn't got any experience to put on the bench. We're so threadbare at the moment with the injuries we've got. So maybe the team will pick itself, but then again, he may choose to bring in the likes of Chong or someone just to give them a game in this game, to give them masses of experience. You just never know what the experience could do for these players. Obviously, you don't want to get hammered in this sort of game, because it might knock their confidence for the future, but you've got to get experience somewhere, and this would be a fantastic stadium and against one of the best teams in the world to get the experience. But I'm going to pick the team that I think he's going to go for, which is David De Gea in goal. I think he'll go for Ashley Young and Luke Shaw as the fullbacks, and then Smalling and Lindelof as the two centre-halves. Then the midfield pretty much picks itself. It's going to be McTominay, Pereira and Fred. There's no other players in there because Pogba's banned. And then the forward line is probably going to go with Dalot. I don't see the problem with giving Chong a run out in this game. I know Dalot's done quite well in that right wing sort of attacking area, because he's an attacking right back. But I don't see any problem with giving Chong a go, or maybe giving him some time in the second half, because Manchester United are not going to turn this game around, and we've got to be looking to beat Arsenal at the weekend. That is a massive game for Manchester United, and if any more players in and around this team get injured, then we're really going to be down to the likes of Garner, Gomez and Chong and Greenwood, and I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to cope with Arsenal. But obviously it's going to be Rashford and Lukaku as the other two forward players. You've got no one else, to be honest. But as I say, Greenwood will probably be along the substitutes if he is fit. He hasn't played for the reserves or the under-18s this weekend. I don't know if that's just holding him back because he was potentially in line for the Southampton game if there was any more injuries. That does seem quite likely, to be honest. Garner didn't feature either. He was the extra man for Manchester United for that Southampton game. And Gomez and Chong were on the bench, and obviously Chong came on. It was a shame that Manchester United couldn't get the game done and dusted earlier and swat Southampton aside, because then we would have probably seen Chong and Gomez get sort of 15-20 minutes towards the end at least, and that would have been great experience for them, because we may need them in these next couple of games, because we don't know how the other players are going to get through. I would presume that Martial will be back fit for that game against Arsenal, but if he's not back fit for that, then we're going to be a man shorter than we were against Southampton, because Alexis Sanchez is obviously out, but we'll have Paul Pogba back, so we may have to have a youth bench again against Arsenal. And if you get any injuries in the game, you've got to bring them off the substitutes bench, so they're going to have to make instant impacts, and if they've had no real experience in the first team so much, it's going to be difficult, because that's a must-win game, that one against Arsenal, or certainly a must-not-lose game anyway. So this game, I mean, if we win the game, great. But even if we win the game, I'm not sure we're going to be able to make it through. We're going to have to win either 3-0, 3-1. 3-1 would be the worst scoreline that Manchester United could win in order to go through. So, I mean, anything above 3-0 would be obviously Manchester United been going through. But you can't really see Manchester United scoring 3 goals away at PSG, to be honest. But I can't really see them not scoring. So there's no way we're going to go there and swat them aside 3-0. So we'd probably have to get a 3-1 victory there, which would be really, really unlikely. But we've seen what Barcelona did to them a couple of seasons ago when they actually scored the away goal. Jesus Christ, Barcelona scored all them late goals, and it was just something that I've not seen in football before. So could Manchester United do something like that? I mean, it would be extraordinary. We may have to rely on like the likes of Greenwood and Chong and Gomez coming off the bench to win the game. Can you imagine? Could you fucking imagine that if that happened? I mean, it would be absolutely extraordinary. I can't see it happening. I think PSG are going to win this game. I think they're going to win it themselves, probably about 3-1, something like that. I think Manchester United might actually be able to may score in this one. I don't think that Cavani is going to start this game from what I'm rumoured to hear. So that is probably a bonus for Manchester United. But Di Maria caused Manchester United all sorts of problems in that second half against us at Old Trafford, which was heartbreaking to see, considering the way he left Manchester United. It was because of a fallout with Louis van Gaal, though, not due to his hate for Manchester United. But they've also got the likes of Draxler and obviously the main man, Kylian Mbappe, who will probably score against Manchester United again, will probably give the Manchester United defenders, the likes of Ashley Young and that, torrid and Chris Smalling, a torrid time with his pace and whatnot. He gives it to the best of players, so it's going to be difficult. But Neymar, I'm sure, is out of this game, which is a plus for Manchester United, because that 3 forward line, Cavani, Neymar and Mbappe, is a frightening front 3. But we did think it was a lot weakened when Neymar and Cavani were ruled out of the first leg, and they were so dominant. I mean, Paul Pogba was completely marked out of the game, which is one reason why he's not in this game, getting himself sent off. But you know, it is what it is. Manchester United are probably going to go out of this game. As I say, I'm going for 3-1 to PSG. I don't see Manchester United getting back in this tie. I mean, it would though be great if Manchester United could get the first goal, maybe an early goal in this game, just to shock PSG in the game a little bit, just to give Manchester United a bit of pride as well and a little bit of optimism going forward, but that we can actually maybe in the future compete against these sort of teams and not just be rolled over. I think we're 2 or 3 world-class players away from potentially being able to compete against these sort of sides, because if you had maybe a world-class centre-back and maybe a world-class right-winger and maybe someone else in the team, maybe another full-back and something else, that can change Manchester United's team massively. You look at what's happened to Liverpool's defence, and they've signed Virgil van Dijk. It's massively, massively improved their team. And then they've gone on and obviously signed Alisson as well. and just bringing them two players in has taken Liverpool to a much higher level, and sometimes it is only them one or two extra players that you need. So I don't think Manchester United need, like some people saying after that PSG game, we need 6-7 players. I mean, Jesus Christ, some of these players are good players. I mean, they're not shit players, and in the Champions League it's not always the best team that wins it. So Manchester United could add 2 or 3 world-class players next season. I know that's going to cost a lot of money if you get the likes of Sancho and Koulibaly. That would be nearer 200 million just on its own. But you add that level of player to Manchester United, it would take Manchester United up at least 2 levels for me, probably a few levels, and we would be a lot more closer to them. Because I mean, you think if Solskjaer had been in charge all season, Manchester United might be further up the league, might be doing better, might have finished first in the Champions League group. We just don't know. But we have got a lot of attacking, good players in and around the team, a lot of young players as well that can improve. So it's not too disheartening if we go out at this stage this year. It's a learning curve for some of the players, the likes of Pereira, Delot, McTominay, them sort of players. Even the likes of Lindelof will get a lot learned out of this, because Lindelof's still only young, 23, 24. That's young for a centre half. You're looking at Virgil van Dijk, about 27, 28. Players don't always come into their own till that sort of age as a centre half. So we've got a lot of improvement to do. The likes of Rashford still very, very young. So we've got a lot of improvement that we can do in this team. But I don't think we're a million miles behind these sort of teams. We've just got to knock this on the head and move forward for next season. Hopefully be back in Europeans Elite next season to compete against these sort of sides. Anyway, I don't think we're going to get the victory, but let's just go out there and give it our all and put some pride on the Manchester United badge. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.